Good afternoon and welcome, obviously, back to the channel. And listen, loads of people on holiday at the moment, and I wonder why. Because it's stupid international break, like, you know what I mean? So Dan's on holiday as well. We ain't stupid. So listen, I'm going to try and do my best and host today, like, you know. So we've got Dan in the building. Dan, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I agree with you completely. I should have gone away as well. I think we should all just go away on international break.
All have a weekend like that, you know.
Yeah, leave England to it, mate. Like,
and leave England to it, like, you know what I mean. So that's me flower, like, you know what I mean. Flawless, whatever bloody name I don't even know what name he goes to. He'll be with us in a second. He's going to come on, like, you know. But let's just talk a little bit about international break, and I'm going to be really honest. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of enjoyed the game against Ireland. I kind of enjoyed it, and then when they started making substitutions and like players like Declan Rice, I'm thinking of an Arsenal point of view here. You can say about the Chelsea point of view if you want, like, even though like Cole Palmer weren't there, but I'm sort of looking at it and going, right, why ain't he coming off? Why ain't he coming in? I've got Finland coming up on tomorrow. What game that's going? I'm really looking forward to that one. Finland home on a Tuesday night. Yeah, brilliant. And I'm hoping, like, because Saka and Rice played the 90 minutes, that they're not going to start in this game. Like, you know, what we can ask in the comments as well, really, like, try and get everybody involved on this. Like, you know, what is this international break mean to everybody? Because, you know, I look at the fixtures and I look at them and I think, yeah, we've got Spurs away, which is a big game for obviously Arsenal and Spurs. There's not really that many, I would say, blockbuster ties this weekend. Would you say, like, you know what I mean? I'm scratching my head down, like, thinking that the next best game to look at maybe Southampton and Man United, because you're wanting something to happen there on the front of Man United. But talk to me, come on. What's this international break mean to a Chelsea fan?
Well, to a Chelsea fan, not a lot, mate. Like, we barely had anyone in it. We didn't really have much of a representation. Obviously, Palmer pulled out. Madueke obviously is in the squad. And other than that, I'll be honest, after the Euros, my connection with England has just fallen to pieces. Lee Carsley's like the worst appointment we could have made. It just doesn't excite me. The fact he come out with all the nonsense about the national anthem and stuff. If you're going to be the manager of England, in my opinion, you've got to sing it. And I just think it's a disastrous appointment from the FA. So then by the time it gets around to the international break, I really weren't that bothered about it. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to beat Ireland. But I bet you're dreading it, seeing Declan Rice coming on, because you know 100, like, playing the game, because you know 100% that they're going to have it in for him. There was a bet on Paddy Power, wasn't there? It was like Declan Rice to be fouled 4 or more times.
Do you know what? I didn't think of that at first, but then I realised, you know what I mean, like, in the first couple of minutes, it weren't Declan Rice who was getting it; it was Grealish. And I was saying, well, fair enough, like, keep kicking old Grealish, but in a nice way, because I do like Jack Grealish, to be fair. But yeah, then I'm starting to worry about that, like, and I was getting a bit of stick. But I'll tell you what, though, I've got to say this: you couldn't write, if you wrote a book, right, and the end of the story was that the two Irish guys are scored. So that's, you know, I mean, that's.
I think that's brilliant, by the way.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? You couldn't write it, could you? Couldn't make that up, could you? Like, you know what I mean? So
it really is. It really is. Like that. That is football being football right there. Sorry to cut you off, Dan. That is football. The fact that they both them two scored after all the conversation. I didn't even know about the bet that Paddy Power had up as well. They was getting stick. They was getting booed. They had the banner of them both, and then they ended up scoring. They both played well, also. That's
I thought that. Do you think they're just hungry because it was Ireland? Like, do you think them two were the ones that were up for it most because they had something to prove? Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, I think, like, if you was like making a film when you sat in the script and you were sitting in the, you know, like the script area around the table, and you said, right, what we're doing is, and we're, you know, Declan Rice would get the first one with a banger, and then, like, there'd be a lovely little 1-2, and Declan Rice would put it in for Grealish, he'll score, and they win it 2-0. And everybody gone, yeah, nah, that's not going to quite work. It's not going to cut that. But you know, I have to say, let's just talk about that quickly about the match. Is it, you know, because there is this thing about the manager being English and all that, like, and then he's not singing the national anthem and all that. As fans, are we bothered about that or not? Let's be honest.
I am.
Nah. Let's be honest, though, Dan. Only bothered by it if England don't win. If he wins the tournament,
in
people
general,
don't care.
like
If 2026, Dan, he doesn't sing the national anthem. All the qualifiers, all the Nations League, they go to the States, Canada, Mexico, and England win the tournament in 2026. Nobody is going to care that he didn't sing the national anthem if they win the World Cup. However, if they lose in the semi-final or the final again, for example, then it's a conversation starter. All about winning.
I don't want Lee Carsley as the England manager, mate. He played for Ireland. He was an Irish international. Yeah. I just don't fancy Lee Carsley as the England manager.
Or
England need to be brought together, and getting Lee Carsley in, he ain't doing that straight away.
Okay, so you're on the train of it should be an English man. It should be an English manager for England.
Nah, mate.
Or you just saying get the best man. Or you just saying get the best man for the job. Which one are you at?
I think we're at a point where the best man for the job would be probably the most appropriate thing. And then I wonder if they'd sing the national anthem. But as a guy that like Lee Carsley, he ain't got enough. He hasn't got enough about him on his CV to not sing the national anthem. Do you know what I mean? If it's Pep or Mourinho and they ain't singing it, I might take it. But I ain't taking Lee Carsley not singing the England national anthem when he played for Birmingham and like Everton, and he.
Yeah.
I'm in the camp. I'll be really honest. I'm in the camp of like. If you're a manager, you've got to be English. It's the same with the cricket. I know, like, you know, we've got Bazball at the moment. I've been watching the cricket this morning, like, you know, but with Brendan McCullum. But he's not English. I think at the end of the day, if you've got to have an English man, I know it sounds silly, like, but if you're English, you play for England. I know that Declan Rice has and all that, but that's another can of worms and all that. But I do think that the manager for England should be England. Like the Scottish man should always be Scottish. Whether it's the Australian manager's got to be Australian. I just think that's how it should be.
I think it should be a rule. Like, if
you've got
the best players from England, why you have to pick the best coaching staff as well? I think it should be a rule.
Yeah, I do.
But Carsley is technically English, and you're not with it, then.
He's technically English. Yeah. He's got that Brummie accent, doesn't he? Like, you know?
It's like Deck not celebrating, man. Just celebrate.
No, I get why he didn't celebrate.
Okay, hear me out on this, yeah?
Yeah.
I hear why he didn't celebrate. But I know full well that his granddad would have been jumping up and down that he'd scored.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, Deck's granddad would have been jumping up and down that he'd scored. So I just don't get that. I never thought I'd see that in an international game, by the way. You know, like if it's club to club and someone don't celebrate. Never thought I'd see it in an international match.
I remember playing I went back to one of my old clubs and all the fans booed me, like, you know what I mean? And like, I'll give it back to them, you know what I mean? Like in a fun way. And I go back there now and I still get a good reception, you know what I mean? It was how it should be, like, you know, Kevin Campbell, of course, I really knew, like, you know, God bless him. He celebrated every time he scored against Arsenal, like, and I never hold it against him, you know what I mean? Like, I think it was the way, I think it should be done.
It's each to their own. To me, I think that's what it is. If you score, you can choose how you want to celebrate. If you score against your old club and you want to celebrate, fine. If you score against your old club and you don't want to celebrate, also fine. And then the thing is with the whole international management, say there's not a manager good enough. Is there an English manager currently good enough to take England where they need to be right now?
Well, that's a great question because there is, but they're all in better jobs, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean? If you want my opinion, you know what I mean? The Premier League, if I'll be really honest, if I was a Premier League manager, I would prefer to be managing, like, you know, off my top of my head. I know Southampton have got an English manager, Bournemouth have. I'd rather be at one of those clubs, you know what I mean? Eddie Howe at Newcastle, that's a much bigger and better job than England, in my opinion, you know. But I'll tell you what, this thing about come on, I'm not. I'll tell you something now.
Like, wait, hey, judges, you're my guy. But ain't you the same guy that don't, when Kane scores for England, you ain't celebrating?
Nah. any Spurs player. That's the greatest thing about England at the minute. There's no Spurs players in it. It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable to watch. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, and we've Harry Kane.
Like, that's the funfunniest part.
Harry Kane, I don't think he's all English anyway. No, do you know what I mean? I've got that. I'll tell you a little story about that if you want. I went to Dubai and Teddy Sheringham was there, like, and I got on really well. We had a good crack for a few days, and he mentioned the Harry Kane thing, and I said, yeah, I don't celebrate him, and I said, like, and I'll tell you something else. When you was playing for England, I didn't celebrate your goals neither. Like, and he went, do you know what you are? So I said, no, what's that? He went, you're a CUNC. That's what he called me, like, you know what I mean? Like, so,
he called you a
yeah, he did. He actually called me it, like, you know what I mean? So I went, F you, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but in a good banter way. It's all banter, isn't it? Like, but I'll tell you who does celebrate, and we can relate to this one. He celebrates, and I've got the same respect for him. Whether he said is Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck, when he played against Man United, he'd give it, and when he does for Arsenal against for Brighton, whatever. And do you know what? I don't disrespect him. Any other, I still like him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, even though he's going, that's a yellow card the other day to Declan, I still,
because it was a
he
yellow
wants
card.
to win.
Right. He was right.
He wants to win. He wants to win for his team. You know what I mean? Like, and I like that. I think, you know, win at all costs. Win at all costs. You know, look, listen, when I play football, my mum was on the opposite side, I'd kick her. Simple as that, like, you know what I mean? Simple as that, like, you know what I mean?
50-50, just whack.
No thinking about it.
Which I do understand. That's why I don't like Welbeck. You mentioned now when he scores against Manchester United, I have no issue with that. He celebrated for Arsenal before. He celebrated
because he's not a legend though. Flawless, isn't it?
All right, Ronaldo scored against us before.
Ronaldo, I remember him scored Real Madrid.
Yeah, Ronaldo. One time he didn't. I know when he scored at Old Trafford in one game he didn't, but then when he scored against us when we played him in the Bernabeu, he celebrated. I have no issue with that. You're a Real Madrid player at that point.
Do you know what? The only one that ever hurt me was when Frank Lampard went to City and he scored the equaliser and made it 1-1. Oh, that was the only one that's ever got to me.
He didn't celebrate.
He didn't celebrate either, but that got to me. That was the only time.
So
he kind of went like this. He kind of said sorry, and I was like, "That's enough. Put your hand down. That's enough."
I said, if he would have celebrated, would it hurt worse?
Oh, mate, I wouldn't have been able to take it. Would not. That's the only goal that's ever hurt. Like, I think Drogba came back and might have scored against us. A couple of other, like the Lampard one, just hit different. I think because it was like, why you could have easily just not had that shot. Could have easily not had the shot, man, and he just wanted to score. I think.
Yeah, well, he's got a honey. You know what I mean?
Mate, I see it. Of course, I see it. But
and
that one.
Listen. We've all played for. When you score, deep inside you, like, you know what I mean? Yes, yes. You know what I mean? Like, someone else give it and show it. Like
the little boy in the playground comes out, doesn't it? Like, every time you score. I don't disagree. Yeah, I didn't get the choice of scoring that many, but you know, I still take it.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's more of an insult if they don't celebrate it. I think like get and celebrate it. You know, so but listen, Declan and I were getting loads of stick against West Ham, and I don't know if you remember, he was getting pelters when he gave away the penalty as well. And actually Raya saved it. But anyway, then going back to the one at West Ham, he's getting it a goal and he scores. Oh, come on, Dick, give it to him, like, you know what I mean? It's all in fun, you know what I mean? Like, they've been giving it to you for like 2 games. Give it to him, but you know, he didn't, like, you know, so he's more of a man than me as our Dick, I have to say, like, you know, so there you go. So internationals. Are we looking forward to Finland tomorrow, or are we not? But I'm going out tomorrow, by the way. I think I'm out for a meal, so I'm not that bothered.
Clearly, you're not first. It should be. They did. Carsley did. England did play much better against Ireland. The game was enjoyable because he actually just played a balanced team and actually played players in their position. And all of a sudden, you've seen England's better players. Like, they just looked better overall. It looked more of an outfit that was intent there. They actually attacked in numbers. Like, it's crazy how you play. It was just a bit
refreshed, wasn't it? Like, it just felt like, I think it went a bit stale under Southgate, and it was nice to see a bit of a change up. To be fair to Lee Carsley, bringing in players like Angel Gomez as well, like, that's the sort of thing I like to see, because it's a freshen up, isn't it? Like, change it up, different players in the squad, just sort of give it what it needs. It just needed, like, not taking Grealish to the Euros. That's the type of guy that needs to be in the team for me, even if he's not playing every game. so I think Carsley did a lot of the things that we'd been asking for as fans, and I think on that side of things, I think he's done okay. It's not a bad first audition, but Finland, like I think it's Nations League. It might as well be a friendly. Like no one's bothered.
No one's bothered. Quickly to Harvey in the chat. Loved it when Kai Havertz scored again. Yes, and he give it. I'll tell you where he went up in my estimations, Kai. Then when he done that. So listen, if someone said to me today, rang me up and said, I've got 2 VIP tickets for Finland tomorrow, like I mean, I would go pass. I just
but even if it was a dinner, say it was a dinner and everything there, then would you pass or would you go then still?
I'll tell you what, like, maybe. Like, I remember when I went to, I got invited.
Free drinks in there, yeah.
I got invited to England Ivory Coast a few years back. Like, don't ask me to score. Don't tell me who played. Well, I know Ben White did play it right back, but don't ask me who scored, what the teams were, because I never moved from the box. I just sat there and ate and drank all the way. I didn't even see 1 minute of the game. You know what I mean? So, and I come away from there feeling I feel very guilty because someone would have liked to have watched the game. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna enjoy.
Yeah,
enjoy.
Well, I enjoyed it. Like,
there we go.
Now I think I might go for the dinner. It depends what I'd have to look at the menu first, though. You know what I mean? I'd give it up. I'd say no. Let someone else go. Like, you know. So,
yeah, it would have to be unreal. Otherwise, I'd quite.
It'd have to be a steak. It'd have to be.
It'd have to be a steak. Have to be a good carvery or something like that. You know, for the seafood.
It'd have to have a good old Sunday dinner, good old roast dinner on top of it. Like, otherwise, I ain't going. I don't want nothing Finnish or what. You know what I mean? What's their savoury dish? Nothing like.
Oh, they'll have like fermented heron or something like that.
Yeah, none of that stuff. You know,
my God.
No, honestly, that's a national dish you can leave alone, I think.
Yeah, orange duck or something like that with parsnips. No, thank you. I think I'll get like that. I mean, so that's enough of the internationals. Let's go now. Why it's coming all that as we got you on, Dan, Chelsea. Let's talk a little bit about the ownership. What is going on at Chelsea? From a neutral point of view, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Let them have it. Let them have a good old fight out over it. Like, you know what I mean?
Judges is the greatest, man. You're the greatest.
Well, what is your point? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'd be the sort of one. You know, I mean, if it was me, I'd be going to the to Stamford Bridge and going, "There's the guns, there's the knives, get on with it." Like, smash the granite out of each other, like, you know what I mean, and ruin it. But there you go.
Well, it's Americans love a civil war, don't they?
Yeah.
So they've decided to have one at Chelsea. I think it's crazy. It's just non-stop, mate. Like if you look at where we were after winning the Champions League, the absolute mess. It's been a soap opera or Netflix doc since that Champions League win. I think it's just been all over the place. Roman obviously got sanctioned. The ownership come in. They're backed on sporting merit now. They're obviously showing that they haven't got any sporting merit. It's all over the place. I really don't know. If I'm completely honest, I don't want either of them at the club. If I had a choice, I'd just go. Like they it's a mess, mate. They've been all over the place. I don't think either of them really have a clue because I'm sure Boehly sacked Tuchel. I'm sure Boehly was in charge of the sporting recruitment that summer. And then he obviously decided that he didn't like the flack he was taking from the fans.
Yeah.
Barley's come in as the owner of Clearlake, who has like the bigger share in the club, and their recruitment's been all over the place, as everyone's seen this summer and I think the window before that maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a complete mess. I don't think either's had a good audition to be sort of someone that I'd be backing. Now, I don't think they're allowed to sell unless it's probably between themselves. And for me, if I had to choose, it would probably be Todd Boehly, only because his recruitment policy was slightly more aimed towards success and bringing in bigger stars that Chelsea would be known for. And I think he also has a sporting background and understands how to grow a sporting brand, as he's done with the Dodgers. He understands what bringing in one of the best players in the world does for the brand. And obviously he's a businessman at the end of the day. And I get that. But he also understands that success brings in the money, which Barley, for me, has shown that he isn't about success. He could quite happily run the club in mid-table and make profit on players.
Martin, you've got it at Man United now where it's owned by two as well now. Like you had the Glazers, now you've got Sir Ratcliffe in there now, like, you know, as well. Now with Arsenal, we had the problem when it was joint owned. I have to say, I don't think it works. In a personal point of view, I've seen it like. So what do you make of it? And you know, do you worry that there could be a civil war at Old Trafford as well, maybe about who fixes the roof, who pays that bill, or what? Like, you know,
I don't think there'll be a civil war, because with us, as much as I don't like some of the things Ineos have done, it's clear as to who's like Ineos are clearly in charge of the footballing side of things. You can clearly see that just from this summer alone, whether you like the transfers, whether you like what happened with the manager, because with the ownership, with the Glazers, they weren't interviewing managers. There was never no conversation about a playing style. None of these things was ever new story or coming out. They were just like Dan mentioned there with Chelsea and Todd B, just turning a profit. So it's definitely going to be Ineos who are in charge of the footballing side of things and Glazers ahead of everything else. Now, I have my doubts about Ineos. I did at the start. I currently do. I like them from a transfer perspective. I think Manchester United had a very good window. But when it comes to the managers, I'm like, from when they kept Ten Hag initially, I was like, all right. And then this whole news that's come out over this international window where it's we're looking at his playing style and he needs to impress us and all this type of nonsense. So yeah, don't worry about it. But they do need to fix the roof. So thank you for reminding me, judges.
Sorry about that. Like,
yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
At least at Stamford Bridge, they don't have to fix the roof. But is there any good going to come out of this from Chelsea's point of view, or do you think like from me, I just think it'll work itself out. I don't think it's going to be an issue, Dan. But as a Chelsea fan, are you concerned?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think if we end up with Boehly and Clearlake Capital in charge, I'm slightly more concerned than I would be if Todd Boehly got it, to be honest with you. I think they've got absolutely no... When it was like put to... like when they were buying the club, Boehly got it on sporting merit because of what he'd done everywhere else in terms of the sporting franchises he'd been involved in America. Clearlake were there as investors to bump up how much money the consortium Blueco had together to purchase the club. They weren't there because of sporting merit. No one wanted them in. And if it had been put to us that the aim was for Clearlake to have 100% control, I think Chelsea fans would have objected to that, like they did with the other guy. I can't remember his name. And I think they would have backed the other party because we made our voices heard when we were being taken over because we realised what could be at stake. And for me, Clearlake having 100% control, I think that's disastrous. I think Chelsea will remain in sort of mid-table obscurity because they're more than happy flipping players for 5 million here like on this regular basis, like we've seen already with players coming in. So, yeah, look, I want to win things. And I think Todd Boehly understands that winning brings in more money. And I just don't think Boehly's proven that that he's into that. And also, Todd Boehly's quite happy to get a sporting director and let them do their job because they're the expert in it. Boehly is meddling, he's chatting, he wants to be in the dressing room and he wants to sort of see what's going on with the sporting directors and he wants involvement and he wants to. I just think that's a guy that just doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe in a business world, but not in a sporting world.
Just ask a little bit before we just go off Chelsea. Jadon Sancho, what do we make about this? He's actually turned around, and now I don't know if this is true. He said, "I really enjoyed working with the coach when he was there." Apparently, he wasn't there when he was at Man City or something like, you know. So they've sort of done a little bit of PR here to try and smooth it over. I don't know if it's to make Man United feel better, Martin, or not. I don't know. What do you make of that, first of all, like the Sancho going to Chelsea? It baffles me that why he wanted to go there. I don't understand it, especially when you've got the wide players that they've got.
I think it's one of them. I think it's more so he just wanted to get out of Manchester United. That's what it was. So it was a question of anywhere is better than here, where he was never going to play at Manchester United. Him and Ten Hag do not get on. People thought as soon as he came back initially, and that was from Ineos, and people were talking about, after I got over the initial shock of him coming back and training and being in and around the squad, I was like, okay, but he's not going to play. I was like, they're going to fall out again. I just didn't think it would be in the summer. I thought it would happen during the season, like October, November times, and then he would get a move in January, whether it's a loan or as a permanent transfer. So yeah, with the Jadon Sancho situation, I think it was just a question of he wanted to get anywhere else because he's got more chance of playing at Chelsea than he does at Manchester United.
Yeah.
Our attacking options are awful, and the manager turned around and said he has to do more to get in the squad. If you gotta get in the squad ahead of Mason Mount, Anthony, go elsewhere. Even though I think he should have probably went for his if it's a playing thing, Juventus. But I think he might want to prove himself in the Premier League. Maybe it's that.
Do you know what? And I look back to when I lost a lot of respect for Ten Hag, and Sancho's career was finished because that all come out after they'd just been beaten by Arsenal. Don't you remember that?
Yes, I'm fully
beat
aware.
Arsenal, and the first thing he come out with, instead of holding his hand, he come out and put a young kid under the bus. I didn't think that was right. And if I'm Sancho there, I would probably have gone anywhere but Man United, if I'll be really honest.
That was it. No, that was it. No, that's where the whole, because it felt like the Ten Hag versus Sancho saga. It was so long because we were still talking about it months after. Even when he went on loan to Dortmund, it was still a conversation. Now, Sancho on the pitch, I won't defend because his performances weren't up to scratch. However, I'm with you on that, Lee, in regards to the manager didn't need to mention him after the Arsenal game. We just lost to Arsenal in the last couple minutes. Sancho wasn't even in the squad. Don't mention him. Like I've heard people say, like Sancho's a terrible trainer. How do we know? That's nothing to do with anything that had gone on. He could have easily have given a PR answer. He could have easily have given the PR answer and not mentioned anything. And now it's a whole story. If you don't, because him and Sancho don't get on. You don't rate Sancho for whatever reason. That happens between managers and players. You could have not had this whole palaver and got him a move in January. Do
you think Ten Hag lost a lot of the players and probably some fans after that incident?
I'd say definitely some fans and potentially some players.
I would have. If I was playing, I would have lost. I
think Rashford. I don't think Rashford's been the same since.
Nah.
I just think even
that's true.
Personality-wise, I just think he ain't bothered. Like I think he didn't like how Sancho. I think it's utter disrespect. I think it's appalling man management. And for me, it's one of the 3 moments where I think Ten Hag's proven that he ain't up to the job being a Manchester United manager. Not tactically. I mean, Manchester United manager comes with a lot of pressure, managing egos, managing players. The Ronaldo one, signing the players that he did, and Sancho, for me, show that he just ain't up for it. He just isn't. He hasn't got it to be a Manchester United
he handled it. He handled it horribly because he just created a fire for no reason whatsoever. Like I said, Sancho was not in the squad. Nobody asked about. You could have easily just said, "Oh, he didn't fit my tactical plans for this game. That's why he didn't play." And then that's that.
And do you know what? That's where I will give credit to like Maresca this summer, because every time he was asked about like Sterling, Chilwell, he just said, "Look, tactically, they're not going to get in my squad." He didn't slate the player once. Yeah. He protected the player, and I have to give credit to him because he's come in and dealt with it in the right way, in that sense. As a manager being asked questions, like it's like Ten Hag had no excuses, so he looked for one somewhere because he couldn't think of one for the match.
Oh
and
he never
dug out a young kid who's having a tough time at United.
Yeah, because he has there is no accountability ever from him. That's why I don't pay attention to his, whether it's pre-match or post-match. People in my chat will tell me, panelists, someone will tell me. Never once does he turn around and say, I wasn't good enough. I need to do better. Tactically, I wasn't I made the wrong subject. Zero accountability. It's always everybody else's fault. But then when we win trophies, he takes full credit and will mention it. That's why I got no time for him.
Great point, Mark. That's a great point. That is a great point. Just quickly want to do this super chat. Big up Lee, Flawless, and Dan. Hit the likes and subscribe everyone's channels. People love for the love. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Lee, I don't know if you've seen it. Martin said he's here, but I don't know if you've seen it in the chat. He'll be backstage if you need to add him, but he might have gone by now.
Is he? I didn't see that.
No, he put in the chat he's here, but I don't know if he's gone by now. No, he might have. It was a while ago, so.
Oh, all right, cool. Oh, yeah. I did. Oh, okay, like, no. Sorry about that. We moved on, like, you know what I mean? So, Martin, come back. Come back. Right, you know what I mean? So, Well,
I think
that's what you need Dan at times for all this.
Going back to your Sancho question, I think he'll get game time. I think he'll play at Chelsea. Now we've left out like Cole Palmer and a couple of others out of our Conference League squad. There's definitely room for him to be getting games in Europe, and that's probably where we've seen the best of Sancho. And I think that'll be his audition to see if he can break into the first team and earn himself a starting place, because as we've seen before, that's what the League Cup games sort of did for other teams. They'd play their youngsters, and if they did a good enough job, they'd play. I'm not saying that's what Sancho wants, but we need to remember where Sancho's coming from. I mean, he's had a pre-season, but he's also had a really disappointing spell in England when he's been at Manchester United. He had a good spell probably at Dortmund. I don't think it was as good as his first time round, to be honest with you, but I think he looked all right.
Well, so he done well though at Dortmund last year. I think
he did.
He was up on a.
He did very well, because it's somewhere where he's been before and he's comfortable. Because all he had to do at Dortmund was, because people were talking like he couldn't play. Like the way people were talking about him after the Ten Hag incident was like, and that was the craziest thing. Because anytime I defended him, people were like, "Oh, are you saying he's played well for Manchester?" No, I'm not saying that. I was the one who was saying the summer before we should have sold him, because one, because of the players we had, and two, he was never going to get the game time. And I know Ten Hag in this preseason just gone, and the preseason before played him in the false nine, and people are like, "See, look, he's playing well in the false nine," which is true. The manager don't rate him. He was never going to play him, and I rate Sancho. Do I think he could be successful? Could have been successful at Manchester United. Yes, under this manager. No, he was never ever going to play. So therefore, at Chelsea, he'll get game time. Hopefully, he performs well. I'm actually rooting for him. As much as I don't want Chelsea to do well, I hope he does well, because the way people talked about him is terrible.
A lot of England fans think he's a good guy, and I think they just want to see Jadon Sancho enjoying his football. And I think under Maresca, he might be able to do that. The only thing I've got to say is he's had an absolute stinker, isn't he, on the interview? I don't know if you've seen it, but he said he knew Maresca from his time when he was at Man
Also,
City.
he actually said it on the interview.
They weren't even like, it's like 3 years different.
He tried it, man. White lie, man. I get it, man. He tried the white lie. It's one of them. It's like, come on, Sancho, man. Come on, Sancho. You know what I'm saying? You're better than that.
Yeah, because anyone that doesn't deep it thinks, He's been told to say that. Someone like, you know what I mean? But come on. If someone's told him to say that, I'd be sacking them if they had any job.
Yeah, that's a terrible ghostwriter.
I hope he said it and he's just been caught out. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
Sarah, it couldn't happen to a better club, can it? Like, let's be honest. Listen, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about some proper football. There's some proper football on at the weekend. Something to look forward to. I'm going to be really honest about this. I've looked at the fixtures, and I don't really see any decent fixtures on the Saturday. I know, like, you might disagree with me because, you know, Man United and Chelsea respectively, but I think realistically, there's only one really standout game over the weekend, which we'll talk about in a second. But maybe Southampton and Man United if you're looking for a shock, Flores, but I don't think it's going to happen. If I'll be honest, surely Man United got to come back from that.
Again, you said that last week. Hey, early kickoff on the South Coast after an international break. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm not confident. Do I think we'll win? Yes.
I suppose.
I'm not confident.
Not 12:30, not the nicest one away from home.
It's definitely the worst. It's definitely the worst case scenario for us. Coming off the defeat we was, like I said, the international break.
What would happen? How would the Man United fans and everybody be feeling? Because I thought, if I've been really honest, they was outclassed by Liverpool. I thought Liverpool made easy work of that game last time. But if they was to lose to Southampton,
yeah, it'd be, you know what it's like with Manchester United fans? Anarchy. That's what it is. It's the complete purge. So if we were to lose, there'd be meltdown, emergency meetings. Ten Hag out will probably be trending on social media. Dan's laughing because he knows this. Like, you know what it's like with Manchester. Let us draw, and it's going to be like that. Now, would the manager be sacked if we draw? No, I don't think he would, or even if we lose. But I think people more so, it would just add more fuel to our already. It's already a runaway fire. That's what I would say. It's like a rainforest. He
wouldn't be the first Dutch manager to be sacked after 4 games, though, would he?
They are not sacking him. After their assessment that they did and keeping him, they can't. I would love to be wrong, and they actually sack him after 4 games. I just don't see it. I think they picked him. They've said that's our manager. We are sticking by him for the time being. Barada came out before the Liverpool game and said, "Oh yeah, he's our guy," etc. I'm paraphrasing, etc., etc. And the problem with the Liverpool game was it wasn't that we lost; it's the way we lost. That's the worst thing about it.
The worrying thing is, from if I was a man, and listen, Arsenal have been there in the past, Chelsea have as well. We've all been there. Is that you look at the next two games away from home? They've got away at Southampton and away at Crystal Palace. Yep. They're the worst games if you're in that sort of position, because everybody's expecting to win those games, but they are tough games, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean? Probably like
extremely tough, judges. That's why I'm not sat here saying, 6 points from 6. We run through this. They be tough games at home at this point. I said, we're Manchester United in name only. I don't think I think too many people are looking at the name Manchester United and not actually looking at the manager and the actual team and the squad we have. Could we win both of those games? Yes. Are we heavy favorites for those games? Absolutely not. Could we drop points in both those games? Yes.
Yeah. And that's
how many players in your squad have been away on international break? Have you had a lot gone?
Agate, who the manager said it wouldn't be ready for months, went and played for Uruguay. So like that's what he said. Said he'll be away. He's not ready for months, but yet he went and played, I think, 80 minutes for Uruguay. Who else has been? Obviously, Maino's been away. I think Casemiro went to Brazil. Maguire, I believe, was with England. Who else is there? Brazil, Dalot played. Bruno played. Xerxes played. I'm not sure about who else.
Because that's normally where I find the sort of team that doesn't end up having a lot of players leave and the manager gets his squad together for a week normally comes back after the international break in a much better position. And I remember last year Chelsea had quite a few games against I'm just trying to think, but probably lower end teams like a Southampton, right? Where the manager's had his squad together for a week, got them all working on the game plan for that game, and then we'd lose. And where Poch had like no one available, everyone's out, 16 players on international duty, he's got like 5 players to work with, something like that, comes back and we look all over the place. And I would think that at Southampton, not many of their players have been away on international duty. Do you know what I mean? And what's his name? Russell Martin? Russell Martin?
Russell Martin, yeah.
He's an old pro. He knows exactly what that's going to be. He'll know that he's got a chance against Man United with a week of studying the game plan, working on the game plan.
Exactly.
Come on, boys, be up for this one. They're going to be all over the gaff.
They are going to be up for it. It's Manchester United coming into town, and it's a Manchester United we can get at. They'll
and
genuinely feel
the early kickoff either, do you?
Early kickoff. That's what it's the early kick. Early kick after international break, and I went,
well, someone's got to have it. For this, someone's got to have it.
So why does it have to be us? You know what I'm saying? Just give us a 3 p.m. kickoff. We could have took a 3 p.m.
The thing is with that Man United, what is the worry for Man United? If I was a Man United fan, I say Southampton and Crystal Palace, right? If you win those games, everybody's going to say, well, so what? That's expected. There's no, like drop points in them, and everybody's going to be on it. But if he wins them, sorry, Ten Hag, you're expected to win them games. So it's a tricky week back this for Man United. If I'll be honest,
very extremely tricky. What it would do for him if he does is it gives the people who back Ten Hag and Ineos, it's a lifeline. If he wins these 2 games, it's like, all right, the Liverpool game. We lost to a better Liverpool side. We lost to Brighton, but now we're 6 points from 6. There's something to be built on. Usual stuff. Ollie used to do this all the time before he gets sacked. He always seemed to be 1 or 2 defeats away from losing his job, and then we win them 2 games and we go on a run. And like that's what I think it would do to Ten Hag, because eventually your lack of quality with the manager and the lack of quality in the team is going to show. Eventually, whether it's now or whether it's in a couple months, or whether it's by the season end. I don't think he makes it to the end of the season. I don't think so. I think he gets sacked late on.
No, I think these next 2 games are going to be very, very crucial, right? You know what I mean? Like, and then like the next game after that, Spurs at home. If you was to lose that one as well, that's him gone. I'm sorry.
So you reckon if we lose all 3, you think he's gone?
Oh, he has. The noise will be so loud, flawless.
I think if he loses the 2. I think I can't see him survive.
What if he loses Palace and Southampton and Palace? You think he's gone, judges? If he loses both of those 2,
yeah, I think it'd be under.
He'd be definitely under immense pressure, 100%. Yes.
Yeah. Aaron Ramsdale masterclass coming in on Saturday.
You know what will happen? The camera, every time a goal goes in, the camera will go to Ruud van Nistelrooy. Every time, man. And then the pressure's going to build.
I just think it's going to happen. And then, Eddie gets his first goal for Crystal Palace. and Man United are suffering, like, you know. So I do think I think that, you know, he'll be in trouble. But what are we going to go on it? I'm going to go for a draw. I think a 1-1 draw. What are we thinking here?
Go on, Dan.
I reckon Man United win it 2-1, you know.
2-1.
Yeah, I do. I've got a feeling.
You think we score 2 goals, yeah? All right.
Yeah, mate, I do. I just think Ten Hag's a bit jammy, isn't he, when he needs to be?
He's got that kind of error. I'm saying 1-0. That's what I'm going with. I'm going 1-0.
What, to United?
Yeah, United. Yeah.
Okay.
1-0 to United. Yeah.
Well, Brighton are going well and can maintain their push to the top with a home to Ipswich. So they'd be quite pleased with that, guys. I think, like, you know, if they win that one, Brighton have had a fantastic start, aren't they? Like, you know, yes. I mean, 3 wins and a draw, that would be if they would do that. So we fancy Brighton for this one.
Yeah,
I think the way Brighton has started, their young manager's impressive, isn't he? But that's a proper, that's a game for like the football nerds, mate. Like, they're gonna love that. Kieran McKenna versus this young guy, like 2 young managers, loving their tactics. There's gonna be inversions, overlaps, false positions, fluid rotations. There's going to be everything.
Sound like you like it. That's what it
there's
sounds
going to
like.
be no space in the half spaces. I'm ready for football Twitter to just absolutely love that game. Like, do you know, just do me a favor, man. Like, just get back to what football is, do you know? But that's a game for, like, I don't know.
I think it'd be an interesting one. Palace would be an interesting one against Leicester because they've got to get their season back on track, and 2 home games on the trot now for Palace in South London. Leicester
gave us a good game, you know, so I back them to win it.
Yeah, and then they've got a tougher game, obviously, against Man United, but that'd be interesting. Well, this one probably is the game that intrigues me the most on the Saturday. If I'll be honest, if I was to pick a game to go and watch, Fulham versus West Ham, because I don't think you really know what you're going to get. Like, it's a London derby. I think Fulham are doing well. West Ham, I think, have done okay. If I'll be, you know, probably, like, you know, they've had a tough start with them. Villa at home and Man City at home. Two difficult home games, if I'll be honest. But what are we going to go on this one? Fulham. I'm going to back Arsenal's reserves and say that Fulham will win.
Who's Arsenal's reserves? Wait, who's Fulham Arsenal reserves? Yeah, because they got Reece Nelson and Smith Rowe.
Yeah, we've got Bert Leno was there and Iwobi as well. Like, so there's a few there.
No, I'm going just for that. I'm going West Ham. Yeah, I'm saying West Ham, just for that. I'm going West Ham. West Ham 2-1. That's what I'm saying.
I think West Ham win that. West Ham looked all right against Man City in spells. I think they're playing better football than they were under Moyes. They've got some exciting players. I think they'll have a little bit too much for Fulham, even though Fulham are all right, aren't they? They're not a bad side. Adama Traore started the season on fire.
Yeah, they're a decent side.
On that. So he agrees with me, 1-1. You know what I mean? So he doesn't go with you, Flawless. He's going against you, which you know, seems to be a trend.
I can't even argue against it. That's my Manchester United bias more. I can't even argue.
Liverpool Forest, there's only one winner there, boys, isn't there? There's only one.
Yeah, Forest all day,
yeah, Forest all day. Forest all day.
I could never back a Liverpool win, man.
I can't stand it, but Liverpool will go do the business.
And unfortunately, like, Brentford are just going up there for a joyride, aren't they? They're just going up there for a trip.
Yeah, they're just going there to give Man City their 3 points.
Yeah, they're going to hand over 3
another gimme. Those 2 gimmies.
Villa Everton.
Oh, Everton are in a bad way, man.
Yeah. Villa are going to move to Everton. Everton,
do you fear for Everton this season?
Yeah. They're my favourites. Yeah, them and Wolves.
I like Everton, but it's like, you can't lose to Bournemouth in the manner in which you did 2-0 up, or 87th, 88th minute, and then you concede 3 goals. And that's a Sean Dyche team. You would that's
like the 3rd best defence in the league last season.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think it was like 4th.
Crazy.
So to go from that to that, it's like, maybe it is the end.
I think the outside influences are having an effect on that team, because I think they're thinking, like, no matter how hard we try, we're going to keep getting knocked back with points deductions. Like, they've had what they have 2 last year. They're looking at 1 this year, apparently. And then
they get 1 this year. They're finished.
Leicester were nailed on for getting 1, and they've managed to dodge it. And Everton are just obviously, like, in a bad way. They've had a lot of issues with the takeover, and I think there's only so much you can do before that toxicity starts filtering through to the players. And I think this season they haven't got enough going forward. And I think last year they scraped through. considering how many deductions they had last year. But I don't know. I think they're going to find it really tough. And what is it? 3 games on the bounce they've lost now, I think.
Yeah, so that'd be 4 if they lose this one.
Which I think they'll lose.
Yeah.
Harvey makes another good point there. Like, Sean Dyche should be sacked and Moyes to come back in. That would be a good shout.
Do you know what? They can't go back again. Is it? They can't go back again, Moyes. But they just can't. You got to move forward with the times.
If Moyes got the job, I'd back him to stay up, Like, I would actually change my mind.
Roles reversed. If Moyes was in the situation and they hired Sean Dyche, you'd probably back them to stay up as well. You got to move forward. Sean
Dyche, I think he's all right. But...
Yeah, you got like Moyes and Dyche and Pulis, and you see these managers. And I like them. All 3 of them I mentioned, but you have to move forward with the times. You really, really do. Just trying to stay in the Premier League because then you end up in this situation. That's what happens.
The new stadiums. Only 2 teams. Do you know that? There's only 2 teams with a new stadium that's never been relegated. So they'll be up against it if they next season as well. I fear for Everton over the next few years. I really do. Like, you know what I mean. So I was talking to one of my Everton mates, and he's going, "I'm looking forward to the new stadium." I said, "We'll enjoy it." You know what I mean? Like, I think there's 3 teams that ain't gone down there because West Ham have got a new stadium, haven't they? Like, as well. So it's West Ham, Arsenal, and them down the road. So them
down the road.
So like,
West Ham haven't been relegated with the new stadium, Lee. Now
I don't think that.
I don't think they have.
I don't think they have. We've been relegated a few times, the Hammers. Let's get that dig in, but. No, I don't think under the new stadium, so it ain't going to be. I think I fear for Everton over the next few years, But listen, this team's done fantastically well over the years. I've got to say that, and I'm not talking Chelsea. I'm talking Bournemouth. If you've ever been to Bournemouth, punching way above their weight for what they do, and an impressive winner.
They do well against Chelsea. They have a very good record against Chelsea.
So this is an interesting one. Now, Aston Villa game against Everton's a 5-4. I didn't know this too earlier on, but Bournemouth versus Chelsea. So it's your Saturday night game. If you not want to go out on a Saturday night, you can watch this one. I'm going to say this now. I do not like old school here, like 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night. It's not for me, guys. I think like that, it's bad enough for a lot of married men and with their partners getting out on a Saturday, but to do it on a Saturday night as well, they are causing a lot of trouble here, the Sky Sports. So, what are we going with this one? Are you worried about this one, Dan, or are you confident? I'm confident Chelsea will come through, by the way. What are you thinking?
No, I'm probably not as confident. I don't know whether I'm being sceptical, but Bournemouth are above us in the table. They've had a better start to the season. I think 2 draws and a win. I think Iraola, their manager's got them playing decent football. I think they looked really good last year. Obviously, they've lost Solanke, which is an issue, but that Semenyo's definitely stepping up at the moment. He looks like a solid player for them. And Kepa's in goal, I think, unless it's a loan thing agreement.
So he can't play, can he?
So I don't know, but if he is allowed to play, I'm sure he'll put out an absolute worldy performance. And if he isn't,
for that.
I don't know. I think it'll be a tough game for Chelsea, as Bournemouth always proves to be. So I'll probably say a draw. I don't see us having enough at the moment.
Well, that's interesting because obviously, if he is on the loan, he can't play. So that's and they sold or they let their other goalkeeper go to the mighty Arsenal.
You're right. I was just looking at their backup actually.
I love Judges' bias towards Arsenal. It's great.
So, it's Mark Travers or Will Dennis.
Love it.
Oh. Well, good luck to them. So they're going to be peppered. Peppered them too, like that. I think like we're saying now. I think Chelsea will win this 2-0 for me. I'm going to go there. I think like too much firepower.
That's how I'm looking at it. Way too much firepower to get Chelsea over the line. I think they'll win like 3-1. 3-1. I think they do the business.
Dan, what are you saying?
I'm gonna go 2-2 draw.
That's crazy. The Chelsea fan is the one who's not picking the Chelsea.
Yeah. Only because Chelsea have let in a lot of goals this season. Until last game, we'd let in 2 goals every match. So
I go for. You know what? Off that news, 4-2 Chelsea. That's what I go with. There we go. I go 4-2. Yeah, I still think you have too much from. I think it'll be a lot like Wolves. Yeah, you lot got too much going forward.
Yeah, but defensively, I don't think we have.
Oh yeah,
enough.
defensively or not? Yeah.
We got some issues as well. Gusto's injured. Reece James still injured. We ain't got a right back really.
Yeah, he played the Sassy there.
What?
Caicedo.
Do you know what? I was wondering if Disasi played right back there. Yeah, I'm kind of expecting Caicedo to have that role. You know,
yeah, Caicedo can play right back. You could do that.
I don't think like the right back's going to be the issue for this game. I think I think they'll be okay.
Right. Yeah,
they'll be okay. Moving on to Sunday now. Obviously, it's Super Sunday, and when there's a Super Sunday, the 4:30 kickoff is normally the main dish. But for some unknown reason, it's only like main course and dessert for us. There's no starter, because you're going straight into the main course, straight in there at 2:00 for your main dinner, and that is Spurs versus Arsenal. What are we thinking here? Dare I say to you, to a neutral's point of view? Like,
I'm not neutral. I'm not neutral. I am not. I'm Spurs through and through from 2 p.m.
No.
That's what it is. I am Spurs through and through from 2 p.m. That's what it is. I'm going to be dressed in all white. That's what it is. I'm ready the whole day. That's what I'm on. But I think it'll be a good game. North London derbies are normally actually very, very good games. So I would say, I think it's got draw written all over it, to be honest. I think you lot without Rice, Calafiori's injured. Jorginho's fit, right? So it'd be Jorginho, Partey, and Odegaard. So it's interesting to see what midfield Ange goes with. Does he go with Sarr, Basuma, and Maddison, or does he go slightly more attacking and play Basuma with Maddison and Kulusevski in there? But yeah, I think 2 apiece. That's what I think it will be. I'm looking forward to the game.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good game. I think it'd be they're always Spurs Arsenal games out of all the derby games. I do, not because I'm biased because it's Arsenal Spurs, but I do think they are always very good, entertaining open games.
Yes.
Got to always have a little something going on.
I think this is the most enjoyable derby to watch in the Premier League over recent years. I think this has been a great fixture, home and away. I think it's been really entertaining. I think Arsenal will win it pretty comfortably. I think the midfield will be a bit of an issue, but I don't think Spurs' midfield has got enough to overrun Arsenal's, even with the limitations.
In there.
I don't know.
Just from a running perspective, because Jorginho, Partey, Odegaard.
I don't mean necessarily. Okay, so in terms of the physical, I just meant in terms of what they'll be able to do with the ball.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm just not sold on Spurs' midfield, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not sold on what I've seen from Ange this season. I still think there were issues last year that I thought he'd rectified by now. And that high line is still as high as ever. And I genuinely think against the better teams, that'll always be a weakness. I think it's just going to come down to whether or not there's fatigue from the international break. Like Lee was saying earlier on, if you see Saka playing against Finland, you're going to be fuming. Because obviously, if you can rest him, maybe play 20 minutes tops just to keep his legs fresh, I think Arsenal will be loving that going into this game against Spurs. You don't want to see another 90 minutes. Look at Calafiori.
I want to see another 90 minutes, man. Let's go, man.
Come on, I don't want to see
my bias. It's my bias.
Do you not,
that's what that is.
Flawless. Do you not think from a football point of view, Saka is not being managed well at all? I think the way he's been managed is disastrous for his career. It's just non-stop. And this kid needs a break. And that's why, Arsenal getting in Raheem Sterling is probably a blessing for Saka.
They can rest him in the North London derby, bring him off the bench for 20 minutes. There you go. That's where he can get his break.
Listen, Arsenal's next 3 games, by the way, are...
Yeah, you lot are running the gauntlet.
We're running. They're going to be make or break, away to Tottenham, which is, without a doubt, the second toughest tie for us away from home, fixture, because obviously it's Spurs. And then you've got, we've got why I don't know. They're Thursday night in Italy.
Atalanta away.
Atalanta away, which is not easy. And then we come back and then play Man City on the Sunday. Why we play all those 3 games away, by the way? Manchester City, not that I'm complaining, have got all 3 games at home, so they're not even going outside the Manchester ring road, which is a joke. But there you go. I'm not moaning. It's how it is. It's the way it is. But so tough time for. I think that midfield. I'm not reluctant to say we're going to win it, lose it, or draw it, because I don't know what the midfield is going to be. There is, options in there. You could actually play Kai Havertz in there, and maybe if Jesus is fit, goes up front. If he's not fit, then you could probably put Zinchenko in there, or you go with Jorginho. I think that I would be very, very comfortable that we'd win the game if Declan Rice is in there, but not because Declan Rice is such. But you see what he was like the other day. His energy levels up and down. He
played well. He did.
Yeah.
He played very well. He's a miss for you lot.
I feel that will just slightly even it out a little bit, but I do think that look, if Ange plays his high line, which everybody says that he will do,
he's going to play.
We can exploit that, So. And if he does play the high line, the midfield comes out of it a little bit where, when people turn around and go, we're going to get overrun in midfield. Well, if you work it out, you're only playing like in a 50-yard area. Like if he was to drop 10, 15 yards, he could get his midfield more on the ball and maybe move us around a little bit more. But if he does play that high line, I think Jorginho is good in tight spaces, 20-yard little runs here and there. So
Odegaard, yeah.
Yeah. So
is this a game with the high line? Is this a game for Martinelli, do you think? Should he start?
Oh, yeah. Or Sterling, either one. I think he's got to have a bit. I think with Havertz and Saka, as great players that they are, if there was, and they're not slouches, but the weakest part of their game is they're not blisteringly fast. Now people go, what are you on about, Jay? Like Saka's quick. But he's not blistering.
There's a difference.
He's not Walcott quick, is he?
He's not Walcott quick, like he's not Martinelli quick. You know what I mean? So I think that we need, you need all that little guile and whatever, and but you also need that option of the ball over the top. And I think that that Martinelli has it. But listen, if Martinelli does, it could be like I watched the game last time against, and Van der Ven had a very, very good game. But with 15, 20 minutes to go, he was physically knackered because he's been chasing back. So if you imagine you do keep it tight or whatever it's tight, the last 20 minutes, then release Martinelli, a couple of fresh, say like if you release Martinelli and Sterling in the last 20 minutes with a flag in defence, that's what I'm looking at, that we may like in the last 20, 25 minutes turn the table. So I'm going to go for an Arsenal to win it 1-0, 2-0, but what are you guys thinking,
I think, an Arsenal 2-0, 2-1 wouldn't surprise me at all. I think they'll just have too much for Spurs.
I'm loving you, Dan.
I'm saying, sorry to burst the bubble. Draw. I think this is a draw.
Typical Man United.
It is. I can just see a draw. And that's what it looks like to me. I see this with both sides.
Like on normal circumstances, you know what I mean? A draw at White Hart Lane is good for it. I'll take it because it's a tough place to go to us. But dropping those 2 points against Brighton means, it means that if we was to get a draw, we go into the Etihad 4 points behind. And, possibly if they beat us.
I'd watch out for Liverpool as well this year as well.
Liverpool as well would be 4 points.
That's what I mean. So those 2 points against Brighton, you got to recover that straight away.
Somewhere along the line, we've got to recover it. Exactly.
Yeah, two draws in a row is too risky for me already.
You can already see it already. Emergency meetings for Arsenal fans, title race over. Where do you stand, judges, with Arteta, though? Does he have to win something this season? Or are you like the progress that he's made?
I do like the progress that he's made, and because we're challenging all that. But I am on a boat now. After this transfer window, I don't think we've done enough. If I'll be really honest, I don't think we've done enough to say, right, we can win the league. And I put that at his door now. If you've decided whether you've wanted to go with it or not, I don't know. He still hasn't signed his contract at this moment in time. So he may be like that. He's not happy with that situation of, in the transfer window that we didn't go. And I think we left ourselves too short. Too short. One in midfield and one up front, And people will go, we ain't got the money to spend. Well, make it happen. You brought in a Calafiori who looks a fantastic player, but did we desperately need that? I don't think we did at the back, where I think we desperately needed something up front and in midfield, So listen, Sterling could be a wonderful thing for us, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure about that. You can say that about all signings, I know, but I just feel that by not, what's the word I'm really looking for? Just game changing play. If we'd have bought,
you're looking for needle movers. I get that.
Yeah, that's a great word. Just someone to just sort of to go right where
a cut above. Yeah, I get it. I fully understand what you're saying.
Both of you would be turning around at the moment and going, you'd both be saying, Man, and myself are saying Man City are going to win the league this season. I wanted a transfer window where it would be going, well, no, Arsenal were mean business. And I don't think we did. So if he doesn't get over the line, I'm going to be looking at them and going, right, well, you should have done it last season. I felt we did with the Declan Rice thing and all that lot. But, I think we haven't done
looking
enough.
To kick on. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so, and I put that at Arteta and Edu's door if it doesn't So I am in the camp now that they've got to win something. And another thing that I would say, I don't want to have all this rubbish. We're not going deep in the cups because we haven't got enough in it. You've had the opportunity, 2 transfer windows to do that now, So I expect Arsenal to go deep in cup competitions as well, So it'd be an interesting one. And listen, pressure if Arsenal don't get the result on Sunday. I just had a chill.
Do you think there'll be some panic, Lee, if that happens?
Yeah, there will be going to the next game. You go 7 points behind Manchester City. They dropped 2 points from December to May last season.
The juggernaut that they are. Are you going? I presume you're going to the game, right, judges?
Going to the game, obviously over in Italy as well, and obviously it's a big, big, big.
Complete panic stations and meltdown if they don't beat.
Yeah, I don't know about panic stuff, but it will be the title will be virtually gone.
That's what it will be. The titles of those fan cams will be titles gone. Yeah, you can already see it. I'm complete from some. I already know.
But listen, I'm going to look on it the positive. If we can beat Spurs, draw at Atalanta, and draw at Man City, I'll take that now. People will go, you got to beat Man City. I get that. It's funny how people go, you got to go and beat Man City, well, no other team does it. So
if they're the only 2 games that you lose, I think as long as you win all your other games, do you know what I mean? You can live with not beating Manchester City, maybe one other slip up, and then I think it gets a bit tight. Because if you lose more than 3 games, I think Manchester City are good enough to be losing 3 or 4 games in a season, and that's it. And you've got to have more points than them to win. So.
And it's like really, sir, if you look at it, it's like me or any of us having a race with Usain Bolt, and you go, right, well, we're going to start here. He goes, no, I'll have another 10 yards on you. So he's, you ain't going to beat him from the, you know what I mean, from a normal start, but giving him another 10, 15 yard start. That's what you're doing by giving him 7 points. You're giving him 7 points within five games. Would it be 5 games?
Yeah, 7 points within 5 games. I need that, man. Just for the conversation.
I mean,
just for the conversation.
The only thing that does, Flawless, is you get the conversation now, but come April, May, the league's wrapped up in it. There'll be no conversation.
Because... Yeah, it's like I've already accepted, unfortunately, that City are going to win the league again. I already accept. People like to go and fight. Yes, they're going 5-peat. No one, Liverpool or Arsenal, to me, didn't do enough to go and take the league from them. So
I always think that this post international break window of the next 4 games with a bit of Europe thrown in there, everything starts to take a bit of shape, doesn't it? You start seeing which teams recovering from their European games, which teams putting up results. 7 games played, obviously, by the next international game at break. I think you start seeing a little bit of shape, don't you, as to how the Prem might start to look, I think.
Yeah, and you do. And Harvey makes a point here, Lee, long way to go. But look at last season, what happened. We had that winter break last year, We haven't got that this year. There's no winter break this year, like, you know what I mean? So there's no reset button. You're playing extra games. Then don't forget, in January next year, you've got Champions League games in January after a Christmas break and all that. Like, it's relentless. And if your squad's not strong enough or big enough, which I don't think there is from Arsenal's point of view, unless they do something in January to add to it, I think there's too many games. And I think that, listen, we don't know because of the new format of the Champions League, but I just think that Arsenal would be needing snookers after 5 games, and that's a joke thing.
Yeah, you don't want to be that. Yeah, you don't want to be needing snookers. The Brighton one is the one you look at, because even City, you don't have to go there and win at City. That's not where Arsenal are going to win or lose the league. That's not where you won or lost the league last season. It wasn't that way at City. Not in the slightest. You don't look at that game and go, yeah, that's the game. No, of course not. No. It's the Brighton game. Spurs will win. Other games like that.
It's difficult. It's difficult to win the league. We all know that it's difficult to win. I think it's a lot harder for London teams because we've got so many more London derbies. You know, like Arsenal, Spurs are massive. But then you've got Chelsea. Your West Ham now has become a little bit more fruitier for us. You know what I mean? So it is difficult, but that's how it is. You know what I mean? And I'm not.
You're the mighty Arsenal. Wait, didn't you have a good record in the London derbies last season?
We've always done well in the local derbies, but you know, they are tough. They are tough. They do take it out of you a little bit, but there's making no excuses. That's why I think at the end of it, when you in that, if I'm around that transfer window, sitting there at a table, I'll be going, look, you know, we've got 4 extra games in the Champions League. We've got FA Cup games coming up. We haven't got the break like we did last season where we can go to Dubai and have a rest up. That's not going to be there. We're going to have to rest players on the job. I think we've just left ourselves a little bit too short. That's in my opinion. Listen, they know more than me, and we'll have to wait and see, like, you know. So, but massive weekend for the Arsenal on Sunday. Like Wolves versus Newcastle last game to look at, boys. Newcastle had a good start. I felt very fortunate against Spurs. I know that it was lovely to see, but it was they were the second best team in that, if I'll be honest.
They was.
Wolves. What are we feeling on this one? We'll just quickly wrap it up now. So, what are we going for on this one? I think Newcastle myself. I'm going down to Paddy Power this weekend, and I'm going to go for a win double away Sunday with Arsenal and
2 wins away.
Okay. I reckon Newcastle could comfortably score 3 in this one against Wolves.
Wolves ain't been at their best. They haven't.
I think Wolves are in a dodgy.
Yeah, I think they're in a dodgy place as well. I do. I'm with you on that.
But they have played Arsenal and Chelsea, so I do take that into consideration.
Yeah,
Newcastle haven't been great, even though they have got 7 points from 9. I'm gonna go, Newcastle. I go Newcastle too, though.
So we're just going to go like, I think Newcastle will win. So, like, you know, Arsenal could be in about 5th or 6th place if all these results keep going this way, like, you know what I mean? Like, so if I make sure that the Arsenal win. But listen, whatever happens. We'll all have a good weekend and all that. Like, guys, thanks for joining us today. Quickly tell everybody where you are and give your old channels a plug because you deserve it.
Go on, Dan.
Yeah, just at BDB Dan on all the socials, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all that stuff. Pleasure being on, Lee. Love chatting about that. I like doing the predictions. As much as it might kill me next week when I've got loads wrong, I love doing them, man.
We shall see who's going to be the prediction winner at the end of the day. Like, certainly won't be you, Flawless, giving too many draws there. You should be doing the pools, you, more than anything else.
What? Hey, what? I only give. How many draws did I give? It was only your mob. That's what.
Yeah, well, that's one too many. That's one too bloody many. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, big up for having me, judges. Appreciate it. Big up to Dan as well. At Sarcasm City TV, people on YouTube, go subscribe to the YouTube. Go follow the playback. Also at Sarcasm City TV, and then that's me, Flawless, across all socials.
Lovely. Cheers, guys. And we'll be back next week. We're a bumper show next week because we know what's going on after that North London derby. And, of course, we'll be following Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool. And if Henry's here, we'll have a little talk about Spurs. Only if they're being stuffed. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Yeah, pleasure, Lee.
Big up.